Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Morning. How's everyone doing? Say hi for a few minutes, talk about a couple things, then we will get started. Won't be long. Now, I did see, welcome, Lone Wolf, welcome, Raul. I think y'all came in yesterday. I know some of these are new, but I think some of those came in yesterday, but you know what? Welcome, and thank you for joining anyway. Hello, Herman. Hello, Little Barn Decor More. That's cool. You must do a lot of crafts. Hey, Lady Di, how you doing? It's you guys, broskies. Just like I said, I went over to Devil's Advocates live or premiere he was doing of some of the footage yesterday. And it's not like I'm the middleman. Like my viewers funded for all of this to come out because that shit was my mortgage payment. They were out of their damn mind. Now it ended up being a little bit less at the end of the day, but that's what we're going to talk about. Actually, because I do know, hello, Julia. Yeah, you were in here yesterday. Thank you again for joining. Hey there. Thank you for joining S. Carolina and LM Minty and European Browse. Thank you for joining. Hey, Suze Loves True Crime. See, but that's the thing. Just like I said, like you guys are the ones who funded this. There's a lot of people that really wanted the truth out there that was questioning, why is no one getting this footage? Why is the media not getting this footage? What are we supposed to do about it? So we tried to get it, but the price was wild. They originally quoted us almost $1,500, and that was after they had originally told us they only had from 225 to 1205. It wasn't until after we got some reports and I called them, which this is all recorded. It's all recorded. And they didn't have it. She didn't know where it was. Then I got a call back a few minutes later saying that her and Tim Smaldridge had gotten together and found it in a subfolder somewhere. And it actually was the full length that they said was in the report from 12:55 in the morning on the 13th to sometime in the evening on the 17th. Also, one random ass day in December that there's also a matching report for. So because of how much it was, we were going to do an hour before and then an hour after, the 3:30 to 4:30. Then we found all the rest of it. There was a bunch of back and forth. We finally got the full amount. If I'm understanding what Gray Hughes is saying correctly, he only paid $110 for footage from noon to sometime the evening of the 14th is how it sounds. So if that's the case, that means he's paying duplication fees. And if that's the case, and he's only paying duplication fees for once the police gets there and after, who paid the redactions for that? Because you have to think about that. Look how much we paid for the redactions for this footage at the end of the day. It shows at the beginning of all of the clips, $930.23. Most of what we're watching here is still, it's mostly just license plates that are being blurred. The most movement in the entire thing is when someone walks out of 1112 and gets into a vehicle. Welcome, Melcy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And then when the police start showing up, granted, we have the few little people in between, we have the Molly stuff, but the most redactions, the most blurred faces, the most license plates having to be covered, the people that are moving around is going to be in that other time frame. So who paid for that? And is that what they quoted our amount off of? Because we were questioning, how can you tell us how much it's going to cost if you haven't done it yet? Like, how can you gauge that? And then for them to be almost $600 off. Who paid for those original redactions? And why have we not seen it? I was thinking about that as I was like getting ready for the live. And I'm like, I wonder if it's the Lifetime movie people. Because think about how having all of that role of the cops showing up and the friends showing up and Jeff Kernodle driving in and everyone that's in the family actually drew out. That's the only way in and out unless you're walking. Like, can you imagine what Lifetime could do with that footage or what any of these other, like, is mainstream media so pathetic that they would only care about watching all of that unfolded afterwards and they didn't give a shit about doing anything with the crime timeline itself? With the 8-hour delay, what us here in this realm believe to be the most important information, they paid for that instead. unless I misheard him, but he did say he paid $110 for this footage. He mentioned getting another interrogation, and then he mentioned how he was getting from the cops getting there to like the next evening, which is to me the 11:14 in the evening, and he mentions $110. So that's instantly where my mind went. But then he also went to go play Lyndon Beck's interview and didn't even know who the frick Lyndon was. He kept asking his viewers who LB was while he played the interrogation that he swears that he just paid for. But he doesn't know who it is. Okay, look, there's a reason why I don't pay much attention to him. I don't personally care for that man. He's a narcissist and he's rude as fuck. Plain and simple. So I don't know what he's doing. I don't know. But it sounds like somebody else paid for the full redactions of that damn footage, but it's not out to the public. So who the frick could it be? If not a family member, somebody who has a reason to want to keep that shit quiet, or some sort of production team because they're going to be using it and that's why we haven't seen it. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. So I think I can FOIA that information and see who actually paid for those redactions. Because I want to know. If it's not Gray Hughes because he's paying a duplication fee, then who the frick paid for it? Then I'm really wondering if it's because it was done before we asked for this footage, if that's what they based our original estimate on. Because again, they said it was almost going to be $1,500 and we paid $747 down as the deposit. So there's that. And it's a question. I would love to know. I would love to know. Now, there are portions of that I already do plan on grabbing because I do want to see exactly the timing of the funeral home, like coming in and out of the area. Obviously, we're not going to see like anything further, which is fine with me, but I want to see like them coming in and out. I want to see when Stacy and her husband show up because I have a theory on the 2 a.m. dark hour statement that it might be the time that maybe they walked down to that area and she stood in front of the house, and maybe that's just stuck in her head. I know that she should know that Ethan was not in the house at the time, but for some reason, even in 2025, she still says he was in the house when they were standing there, but that's not true. And she was the most involved in that entire thing when it came to the school and the city and like organizing things. And she even mentions like the coroner and the funeral home and stuff like that in the interview where she mentions the 2 o'clock hour. So to me, like she would have known he wasn't in the house. So I just don't know why she keeps on saying that he was. I don't know. That's just my theory on like the 2 o'clock hour thing now that I've been like thinking about it more. So we're going to get some more of that, but it's like specific times. But if it is only $110 for noon to like the next day, then we'll just get the whole freaking thing. Because why not? It's only $110. We already went this far. I'll have to find out. Because remember, when it comes to the footage that we just got, it was supposed to have been started at 12:55 in the morning. But instead, suddenly they don't know where it's at. And if you like heard the phone call with MPD, her voice was real shaky. She was really nervous to even tell me that it wasn't there, that the person wasn't there to do it. So we're still waiting until sometime after Tuesday for 12:55 to 2:25. And then also conveniently 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. is completely missing. There's that from this. So because the person, even though the person in the FOIA office is the person who normally does this, according to what she said in the recorded phone call, the person that actually has been doing it because of the overflow of work wasn't there, and the city attorney won't be back until Tuesday. The most important timelines. The most important timelines. Okay, so this is 4:46 to 6 a.m. Let me change the banner. Did I say 4:46? 4:45. 4:45a to 6a. Now, the full file for 4 o'clock to 4:50 posted this morning. I didn't hear my alarm go off this morning, so I did not put the Google Drive link in until like 9 something this morning, but it's there now. If you go to the description box, in all of the raw whole files that post in the morning, it'll be the Google Drive to that original file that was sent to me. Okay. We are about to get started. So make sure I don't miss anything here. Oh, welcome. Welcome, Gone Girl. Welcome, Human Being. Human Being, that's funny. Thank you for the 999 She Beast. Welcome, Elijah. Welcome back, Thousand Julys. Welcome, KAG. Thank you, Julie. Thank you for being here for so long. And don't also forget, we do a members only live the last Monday of the month, and we do a giveaway. It's either a coffee cup, which are on my Etsy store. There's also a white one, a hat. There's this hat. There's another one that has like the words on it. And then there's also the t-shirt. Now I'm also making a new t-shirt because my dad wants a hat, but I know my dad's not going to walk around with like pink and blue on his hat. So I'm going to make like a boy version, a male version where they're more like black and white with some sort of like off color to it, just to appease both ways, I guess, because I thought of my dad and I was like, yeah, he's not going to wear that ish. So I've got to fix it. But yeah, redo a giveaway. And this month in December, it'll be December the 29th. So don't forget that for all you new members, because y'all probably didn't know that. Okay. We're going to get started. You guys ready? Okay. I'm going to try to not be so loud because I can't turn my mic down. My incense is choking me. Right in my ear. Good question. Yes, we're looking for if we hear anything that sounds like they might have come out the house, if anyone shows up in this time frame, we're looking for any sort of movement that might explain more about why there was an 8-hour delay. What's the real timeline here? What are we going to see? Because at this point, we have no answers besides like what Dylan has said, and it's all been a lie. I put this in my community post. Feel free to go check that out. We're not going to get into too much detail here, but some of you brought up like really good points that we really need to discuss like all together. The main one being, if Dylan is telling the police in her interviews that she didn't know how the frick they found Murphy, that means that she thought that Murphy was not in the house, meaning that for this entire time, knowing that her and Bethany were awake, they just allowed Murphy to bark his head off, and they never bothered to get Kaylee to tell her to get her damn dog. They never called her. They never texted her. They never were screaming her name about, hey, would you get him? Why is he barking? Like, none of those things happened. There was like no recognition of the fact that Murphy's barking his face off, and Kaylee has done nothing about it. It's Kaylee that's the first person who would have technically been not responsive if it came to the dog barking its head off situation. But we know that Murphy's in the house when the police get there, but we have to say, okay, but Dylan said she thought the dog was lost and she doesn't know how the police found the dog, because that's all we have to go off of. So when you put those two things together, how does that shit make any sense? Especially knowing that an unconscious, not bloody Xana is the reason for the 911 call. That shit makes no sense. No sense. And then, in case you guys like missed it, in one of her interviews, and we're going to deep dive back into this girl's, all of her interviews. I don't give a shit anymore. We're doing it even harder than before. In one of the interviews, she even tries to tell the police that Hunter tried to make her feel better about not realizing that she had blood all over her, or that it was anything further than an unconscious person, because he didn't notice it either. Mr. I touched her to check her pulse is saying that to Dylan, or Dylan is making that up to make herself look better in front of the police, to make it look normal that she is not being truthful. How was she allowed to like not be further interrogated? How did they just allow her to be one of the cleared people right off the bat with so many inconsistencies and lies, especially since knowing that by like her second interview, they had her forensic download information knowing damn well she was awake the entire 8 hours. I'm not okay with any of it. I am not okay with absolutely any of it. Thank you for the 10 Shadow Ghost. Thank you for getting the footage and getting it to the true crime community. Didn't you find it weird they gave you the time after 2:21 a.m. right after the oh my god scream happened? 2:25. But yeah, That scream was scary. I've never had a guttural like reaction to a sound that I've heard on a screen before. That was like, it went through me completely. I've never had a reaction like that before to a sound. Like that was really intense. And that is like really soon after, isn't it? It's like 14 minutes in, I think. I have a timestamp on the raw footage video and like a trigger warning in the front of that video. But it's supposed to start at 12:55 in the morning, which is like, I said that to her on the phone. I was like, it's real crazy that the timeline where everyone gets home, where Dylan walks home and Lakeland is there and Bethany gets there and the girls get dropped off and we can finally see Xana and Ethan getting home. It's real convenient that part was forgotten in the redactions and they weren't even done yet. It's real convenient. I don't know how these parents aren't asking questions. Like, why am I more mad about the inconsistencies? Okay. One last time before. This is 5 minutes of what we also saw in the previous time frame. I don't know why they separated it like this. The last one ended at 4:50. This one starts at 4:45. So just keep that part in mind. Thank you. Say it louder. Thank you. You've been here for a long time. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. I'll check it afterwards. Thank you so much. A lot of people think it's not him. But that's why I'm so confused. Because remember, we originally heard, like, one of the original rumors was that the dog wasn't there and the dog had to be found. But that obviously came from what Dylan said, because she says it to the police. I don't know how you found Murphy. We didn't know where he was. So obviously she repeated that to the people around her for it to have been a rumor that reached the internet that the dog was lost and the police, and he showed up later. No, he was there in the body cam. He was there the whole time. And we don't see him running around or anything. And I know, like, again, it's neither here nor there, but to me, considering that Jack lives back here, if Murphy was like running around all crazy, I would expect to see him like run that direction. But again, that's also in that damn time frame that we don't have yet, because at this point, Murphy's supposed to have already been like lost, and Bethany should have already been like in her room. Like when it started at 2:25, she would have already been in her room with her snack, watching Big Daddy. And it's not until like 20 minutes after that Maddie calls Bethany and asks her where Murphy is, if she knows where Murphy is. There's so many inconsistencies. They weren't there. They chose not to participate. I'm sure, yeah. Now remember, he's supposed to just like abruptly stop. And we were hearing barks up until like what, right at the end of the 450 video. So we're going to finally hopefully be able to see when the abruption happens. Thank you for being here for 3 months. FBI might have, we don't know. I'll post the links here in a few. We hear a second dog. See, what was that sound? It's hard to tell. I've asked for it. Apparently it doesn't exist. There's a few dogs. Because just in the video that we watched yesterday, last night's live, the 30 minutes before the 911 call, there's a couple that comes out of this area right here, and they have a dog that they put in the back of this white SUV. And then Jeremy, I don't remember his last name, it starts with an R, the redheaded guy that's like balding that was interviewed at first that people went crazy on. He's walking his dog. Like, in my opinion, when he's walking his dog, the dog must be seeing Hunter walking across or something, because the dog kind of barks, and then after that you can sort of hear like the voices, and you can hear what sounds like Hunter. Like, you can make out the voices and see who, like, hear who's who. At that point, it must have been whenever he walked across, and they must have like crossed paths. But you can see that there's like multiple dogs. There's multiple dogs in the area. Yeah, it didn't serve them to pay attention, apparently. Wild as hell. Oh, I hope they feel better. We don't know. Kaylee's desk. Thank you, Arizona. That sounded like talking. Now, I will also say, we don't know who's awake or even in 1112 right now. I've been mentioning this. It's the same way I talk about Linda Lane. It's no different. But we do know that we saw people walking out around like the 3:30-ish something mark, after 3:30, and they were in a car that was in the middle, and they left. So normally when people leave someone's house, it means that the people inside the house that live there are like going to bed, and it's time to get out. Okay. So it's very possible that everyone in 1112 is asleep, and these noises are all coming from behind the house. But again, it is hard to gauge, but it does seem like the more echoed sounds, the ones that are like super loud that really hit your ear, are more like in front of the camera. At least that's how it's seeming so far. That's what I questioned. But remember, he also shows up to be interviewed in different pants. He's in different bottoms when he goes to interview, so I don't know. But I've asked the same thing. There's going to be a lot coming to get these all out there. Especially since Steve knows the damn truth about Dylan being a liar from the beginning. It does sound like a bigger dog, and then there's like a second one that's tinier sounding. I mean, at least have questions. Like, even the people that are like full-on guilters, how are you not questioning more? I don't understand it. Technically, yeah. I mean, but they've already said, even before like the plea stuff, that the stalking allegations were false. like regardless. But no, that's a good point, because if he had been like scoping out the area, you'd think he'd be smart enough to look for cameras. He wouldn't have been driving right there. He would have parked off camera. He would have walked where there wasn't any cameras, noticing anything. I mean, yeah, common sense for sure. That's the same thing that goes with like some of the original theories about guys from the fraternity being involved, because they would have known exactly where to put things. They would have known exactly where there were cameras, exactly where they could walk, where they weren't noticed. And there's several blind spots that connect to different things in this entire area, for sure. It's a good point on all parts. The damn dog is not on a loop. I'm so tired of seeing that word repeated by people. Jesus Christ. Right behind it. The parking lot of 1122 is right behind this house, and 1122 itself sits like this way. So technically, like the house next door, 1122's like sliding glass door is like at the far corner of that house. But the parking area of 1122 touches the back of the house the camera is on. There's no mods. Just put like titles and stuff. I'll find things. That's what I questioned. Like, if you're at your house and you hear your dog barking, like, you know your dog's bark, right? At least I do. So yeah, I've always questioned that too. I don't know. He might not have even been there. We don't really know. They've lied about that 17-minute phone call too, remember? Remember? Yeah. And we still don't have time that they found him. We just have an assumption because of what we heard. Yeah. Like this. There is like what sounds like voices. That sounds like talking. Yeah. Like catty corner. I can hear discussions happening. I hear a male. Again, it could be inside of 1112. Yeah, we have it. We have all of it. Except for the 10 to 11. We'll have that next week because they're stupid. Right? I mean, because wouldn't it sound the same on the feet? For sure. See, we got to put them all together. You're right. Did anybody clock the timestamp of the last bark and compare it to when we started hearing all these voices? I feel so. Because there's like a very walked in path. It's on the other side of this house though. The one that like this one right here. It's on the other side of that. I still hear talking. It was like a door or something. I hear crying and talking. Somebody needs to take the white noise out of this. can barely hear that vehicle. Damn, that's like a delayed sound compared to the rest. I don't remember. 11:12, I think, maybe 11:16. The one over here that has the lights on is 11:19. Right? Like I hear like whoa, what was that? Oh, it was a bug. I thought it was like a big old flash. I've questioned that. I've said something similar to this because Dylan doesn't call Bethany. Bethany calls Dylan. So I've questioned if Bethany would have never heard something and never called Dylan and been like, I heard a freaking firework or I heard a pop sound and saw a light. Would Dylan have ever called her? Would Dylan have ever gone down to her room? Would Dylan have ever come up with the story to tell her on the phone? Because Dylan did not call Bethany freaking out after she apparently saw something Bethany called her. I've questioned that. Because Bethany seems really immature. Really, really immature. But Dylan seems really conniving. So I've wondered that. I really have. Mm-hmm. There is absolutely zero proof of that. Jesus Christ. As a matter of fact, the actual opposite's been stated in court. Exactly. I don't understand why people come out here and say blatantly incorrect things. There is conversations happening. And you do have to pay attention. And yeah, correct. Just like I've been saying in several of these videos, and I've been saying since Linden Lane, we don't know exactly. Okay, we don't. But when the dog has now stopped barking and now we're hearing multiple things, and this is the time frame that Emily and Josie and Lyndon and Hunter were apparently all awake, and now we have Lyndon on camera saying, yeah, Hunter was in the bed, or maybe he was at his apartment. I don't know. That tells me that he was awake and doesn't remember seeing Hunter just a handful of hours before this all went down. Okay, we need to pay attention to that. That part. For sure. Understatement. Me too. I hear a guy talking. I noticed in any of it. I think I need to call. I need to call and ask them about the bells. And I need to go back to Linda Lane, and I need to go back to Taylor Avenue, and I need to listen, because I've already had a lot of issues with Linda Lane. I feel like something's wrong with Linda Lane. I've said I felt like something was off with Linda Lane since like day 3 of Linda Lane being out. We covered Linda Lane extensively, from Sleuthy Goosey trying to be accused of being the one for it to come out because she was being targeted and it all being bullshit, to finding out who it really was and how Steve Goncalves had pieces of it, and it was a whole thing that we went through. We went through all that drama. But I have questions about the authenticity of the audio of Linda Lane. I've never said that the stuff we're seeing on Linda Lane is fake, but you cannot trust audio. You cannot, especially when it's coming from a source that you can't follow, that there's no paper trail for it. You cannot trust it. But if Eric Warner's body cam can pick up the damn church bells as he's standing at the front door of 1122, why are we not hearing the bells? Do they not play them in the middle of the night, actually? But I remember hearing them on the freaking Linda Lane, but still having questions about the Linda Lane audio. So do they play them in the middle of the night or not, for real? I'm going to have to call the city, I guess, and ask. Because to me, there's no way Eric Warner's camera is picking that shit up so loud as he's standing guard in front of the house. But we don't hear it here at all. It's 50 feet. So no, I have a lot of comparisons to do, because something's weird about that for sure. They play, yeah, but do they play on 1330? I mean, do they play on Taylor Avenue? Answer me specifically about Taylor Avenue. Like, I know they play on Linda Lane, but they are? Do we have proof of that somewhere? Because I don't see why we're not hearing them. I don't see what would be the point of them redacting the bells. What was that? There's a lot going on. Let me shut up for a minute. There's a lot of movement going on. Maybe. To make it sound authentic. There is something happening. I can hear it. Oh, so we don't have an answer. Okay. I'll send an email. I'll get it in writing. I hear voices, I hear conversation, I hear things being moved around. At 5 o'clock in the freaking morning. I'm the middle person. I'm proud of my viewers. They funded all of this stuff because they care about the facts. So thank you guys, honestly, for real, because this shit was a lot of money. And we didn't hear it. Okay. To go home, probably. They were probably just there visiting on a Saturday night, and just that's when they went home. No, I didn't. Let me play it back. See, to me, that like right there sounds like a slider. That's not like elongated. That's not like the elongated car sound. That sounds like the quick movement of a slider door. Like, think if you need some sort of example, go watch the news feed when it comes to Jack and Lily Sullivan that are missing in Nova Scotia. The slider is a big situation in that one. And the camera guy goes, the newswoman goes, and she has the grandma like open and close the door so you can hear a slider. If you have no idea what a glass slider sounds like, do that as reference. It sounds like that from like far away. Like, just listen to it. Really just short noise. Slider door. Why is there so much movement happening right now? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me pull up a map real fast. I can do that. I probably should start putting that, actually. I wish YouTube, like in the back-end editor, I wish that they would let you like insert clips. Like, you can go in and like mute stuff, I think blur stuff, and like edit clips out, but they don't let you edit clips in. I wish I would have thought about that, because I would have put a map up and I would have put that in the front of all the videos. Let me get this up all the way. Okay. Let me just show the full thing. Okay. Let me switch this so I can show you guys real fast. And then we'll go back. Okay, so this is where 1122 used to be, right here, okay? This is 1112, right here. The camera is right here on the balcony. This 1119 is the house that you're looking at on the camera. And this house right here is where Jack DeCore lived. His car was parked like right back here on the first responder body cam. So now you guys know where it's at. I'll go back 20 seconds. is all that? I'm going to go back. And I hear y'all saying something about the mic. My volume was already at 36, and the microphone is not right here, guys. It's over here. Let me show you. I don't know. You can't see it. It's this thing all the way over here. It's like 2.5 feet away from my face already. So I put it down on like 20. It's a shit microphone. It cuts out every time I sing, and it just like gets all staticky. So I don't know how it's too loud, but I'm trying my best. Okay. All right. Let me put this back up. Oh, okay. That sounded like a lot, right? That sounded like a lot. Let's go back and listen. There's a lot of movement. Let's go back to the beginning of 5 o'clock. Too far. It sounds like a lot of talking and moving at 5 o'clock in the damn morning. I know that. No, that's supposed to be in the 1255 to the 225 that we're waiting on because they conveniently forgot it. Hopefully by Wednesday we have that. Right, 5 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Like, there's a lot. And they could be walking back and forth. They could be walking back and having stuff parked up on Walinta. They could be over here in the White's apartments and walking where we don't see the camera. We don't know. All we know is there's a lot. Shit is loud. They didn't. Ever. What are you talking about? The most important piece, and that's the and 10 a.m. to 11. They forgot both of them. And what's supposed to be happening between 10 o'clock and 11? The state chose to start using like 10:20-ish for when they started contacting the roommates, the two girls. When in reality, when the rest of the timestamps came out, is when we see that they're actually doing all these other things on the phone. So the state's timeline of when they apparently woke up and started freaking out and looking for them on snap maps and blah, 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 blah is also missing. Conveniently. I think it's more than 2 at this point. There's like multiple unknowns on the knife sheath. Maybe. I think I heard some in last night's live. There is a lot of shit going on, bro. Because we paid $900 for it. It is a joke. I saw that comment. Where was it at? Where's the military comment? I saw it. Oh no, where'd it go? I don't know where it is. There sure is a lot of talking. That sounded like a damn slider. I'm going to look into the military thing. What is going on with these noises, bro? Yeah, I think so. They worked it backwards on some bullshit. We need to remember that Bryan Kohberger had a defense expert that was supposed to come to trial that said that they had proof, indirect and direct proof, of a cleanup that happened in between this 8 hours. They would have had to have come in with scientific forensic evidence of something, be it chemical or proof that blood was cleaned up from somewhere that maybe the cops didn't notice before or something. So that's important to note. Because he pled. Why are you acting like you don't know facts? Exactly. A lot of people plead guilty to things that they're innocent of. Some of you right here in this chat, I know that for a fact. We've had these conversations. There's a lot going on right now. Thank you, Janet. I appreciate that. Thank you for joining, and thank you for the $5. And thank you, Layla. We've been here for a while. No, the world still sucks, but I appreciate that. I'm not going anywhere until we have more answers, for sure. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for joining, Lorena, and Crime Question, and Cornish Gypsy. Mr. Banana Man himself. That's true, too. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The table upstairs. Thank you. See, there's that segment of time where it goes back together. I would have loved to just see a trial. That's all we really wanted, was the facts to be laid out. Someone from the defense side. Someone. Just one person. According to reports that are on the public interest website, like social media stuff. Is it the big truck? I hear the rumble. This is my problem with this. When we got the 3:30 to 4:30 packet, now remember, this is like we have that time frame again minus like the 3:36 to the 3:59. Just like the letter says in the beginning of the raw files, if it's considered previously released, they didn't release it again, but they sort of did, just like in segments, because we already had from 3:30 to 4:30. So now we have like 3:30 to 3:36, and then we have 4 to 4:30 because it goes past to like 4:50, right? There is one point in that 3:30 to 4:30 segment where I mentioned when we reviewed it, and it still sounds like that when I like think about it, when I think back about it, where it sounds like Murphy barks twice from or at least the dog, we'll say it at this point. But then again, I don't know another dog that would need to bark that long. Okay, so to me, it's Murphy. I just don't know if he's on the balcony or if he's outside. I get what other people are saying. I'm acknowledging the fact there's other dogs in the area, but there's no other dog that would feel the need to be barking like that except for one. One dog barking gets the attention of other dogs barking. It's probably multiple dogs, but Murphy's definitely included in that, in my opinion, and Dylan's a freaking liar. Okay? There's one point where I hear like two barks that sound like they do have like a wall between them and the camera. It sounds like it's more muffled, like it's more internal. Then there's a noise that sort of sounds like a slider. And then the dog bark gets more amplified. So to me, yeah, I remember that in the 3:30 to the 4:30 packet. I remember it sounding like two inside, a noise, and then it got amplified like that. Now the dog's outside. That's how I remember. That's how I remember. Because he's not inside the house. Because there's still people inside not letting him in. Because there's still things happening. Somebody's ignored. I mean, they're all ignoring him. They're all kind of dumb, though. You know what I mean? They're like not all very smart. You can hear that in their interviews where they speak. There's still like a lot of stuff happening in the background here. Who this be? Big truck. Is that big truck? Was that big truck? Yeah, it doesn't look like it has a cab on it though. Yes, it does. The light in this camera is crazy. You really can't tell shit. It's a big truck though. Mm-hmm. Still like what sounds like conversation happening. Hmm. I still hear conversations and shit moving around. And it sounds like it's from like inside of a house. I just can't pinpoint exactly which one because, but it sounds like it. Okay, that's just a car. Is that walking through rocks? We're going back. It almost sounds like someone walking through the rocks. Some weird ass sounds. What? I don't understand your question. We're listening to stuff right now. And I showed you guys until 12:05 p.m. last night. I don't know what you meant by that. Welcome, River Rat. That's a slider. One more time. I guess it could have been that car. I didn't see the lights. That sounds like a slider. Okay, now here comes this car. Who you be, bro? Okay, so it's coming home. This is where it comes home. Damn, so they weren't leaving. Yeah, where the frick did they go for 2 hours? Interesting. Huh. Did it just get quiet? Did it just freeze? What is happening here? That's weird. How long does it do that? Okay, that's crazy. Okay, but okay. So they just like didn't want us to hear their conversation, which I guess is fine if it doesn't have anything to do with this. So like this isn't the car that parks. This is them getting dropped off. Are those not the same two girls that left in a vehicle? Was it 3 of them that left or 2? See, I'm going to have to go back and look. This is going to be silent. So 2 left, and now 2 are getting dropped off. So they went somewhere and drove out, and then they're getting dropped off 2 hours later. Are they drunk? I mean, I can't tell. They look like they're standing pretty straight. I don't know why it goes color. Maybe it goes color when the human is detected up on the balcony. Because it was color when they left, too. Yeah, I guess they just didn't want their private conversations out there. And that's not the intent of the camera footage, but you can get an idea of like the lights and stuff that are still on for sure. Everywhere. The black lights are still on here. I can't tell if this is a black light that's on here or if it's just a reflection because of this one being so bright. And now we're back to black and white. 2 girls left. 2 girls got dropped off, but they drove out. That is kind of strange, right? Where's your car? That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, it looks like it's the same outfits. I don't know why it's taking so long for them to like bring back the freaking sound so long after the girls go back in the house. And without their vehicle and they come back. That's crazy. Come on. I don't remember the second that it said. I know we just checked it, but I don't remember what it said. I think 26 maybe. Yeah, super responsible of drinking. But if they left after all the bars were closed, then where the frick did they go for drinking? Someone's house, I guess. Several. I'm not sure how many. There was quite a few there the next morning. Somebody locking their car. I didn't see any lights. Did you see like lights? Usually lights go off when you also lock your car. That's behind the house. Somewhere where you're not going to see in the headlights. That was rather loud. So now we know they just walked in there. We have to be mindful about the noises now because we know these 2 girls are now home. What are you talking about? Are you talking about the video that I released from MPD that has the guttural screaming that we were just talking about a second ago? Yes, I have seen my video. I have. All I hear in the back end is like a fan that needs to be greased. Sounds like an air conditioning fan. For real, bro. It does sort of sound like that too, doesn't it? Like it needs a serpentine oiling. It does sound like that. It's faint, but it's back there. Was that a vehicle or something being moved across the floor? One more time. Unless the kitchen's right there by the wall, I don't think it would be that loud. You'd be surprised. She got over $100,000 donated to her. Yes. Her therapy is covered by the Victims Advocacy Place. I know that because I was a victim in Texas and it's covered. So the state's paying for her therapy. It's not for therapy. Oh. I was trying to read and spilt my coffee on me. I still hear stuff. Could it be? I guess maybe it could be a TV. No, that's not a TV. That's a vehicle, I think. That sounds like a vehicle. Let me backtrack and see if I'm looking at something correctly or not. Maybe it's just the camera. I keep trying to see if there's like some sort of movement over here, but it's not really moving. It's just the camera itself. That sounds like a vehicle. I don't see any headlights. It sounds like something. No, that sounds like a vehicle. It's like driving farther away, I think. It's definitely a vehicle. It's just nowhere in the camera to see the lights or anything. It must have come out of Taylor Avenue, maybe? I mean, like the Linda Lane, maybe that way? You can hear it for a minute. Wish we could figure out what these damn noises were. That sounds like conversation. That stuff moving. Thuds and whatnot. Still hear sort of like talking. That just hurt the shit out of my ears. What the hell was that? That was probably like in this house. That was really loud. Or, yeah, no, I don't think it even could have been the front door of 1122. That was way too in my ear. Maybe a locked door. Maybe so. Because it was like pretty loud. I feel like that definitely had to be like on the house itself. Yeah. See, that noise sounds like it's more muffled. That's a great question. And I know that Truth and Transparency has something about this on their thumbnail of like a freaking over 7-hour live. I'm not even doing any of that. The question is out there because we've got proof of both. I don't know if she showed that or not, but we have proof of both, sort of. And I say sort of because the Dateline episode that was proven to be a true case leak. And I showed this photo, I think like 2 days ago in the live. There was something in there that showed like, I think it was like 4 different photos of what was supposed to be Kohberger taking pictures of his vehicle. And it was like after he moved. If I can remember correctly, it was like after he moved to WSU, or maybe there was 2 before and 2 after, something like that. But they don't have the bug guard. And it's important to me because when they take his car in, the photographs in the ISP forensic stuff that was dropped has the bug guard on the car. So when was the bug guard put on the car? That's my question. And it's a legitimate, real question because we've seen proof of both. And I say that again because Dateline's been proven to be a real actual leak. And even though I obtained the Google link from Celebrite themselves in order to get the information that the Barnharts had from Bryan Kohberger's phone, it was a bunch of bullshit. poorly written reports and nothing but a bunch of damn selfies that I could give two shits less about. I asked them specifically if they had anything else specifically about the car, and they never responded. But Dateline's part of a leak. Something that they had in there was obviously factual, and that could be part of what was factual. And again, because we have photos of it being in the evidence lab with the bug guard, I don't know. Before, after, when was it purchased? It's a big question. It's a big question, one that we're going to look at for sure. We're trying to figure that part out. Sure, there's a lot going on still for 5:30 in the morning. I know, but that's why I really want like a receipt, something that we can prove like when it was put on, because if it didn't have a bug guard and there's no bug guard on the car that we're seeing, and it's important to note, I mean, everything else matters too, but we have to look at what they looked at. You know what I mean? I want the footage of him leaving during the daytime from WSU that like later that morning, like in the 9 o'clock hour. I want that footage. And I know that they have it because they said that even though they weren't asked for help, they got it anyway. They went around and got footage. So I know they have to have it. I asked Pullman for everything about Bryan and they sent me a bunch of stuff. But now that we know that they like have footage, we need to be asking for that footage. I want to know what his car looked like that morning he left the apartments. I did see something about fog lights. That's important too. No, it doesn't. Mm-mm. He didn't buy the car, Katie. His mother gave him the car. I'm going to look. I'm going to see. I don't think so. You only see like the back of it. That's something we still have to like deep dive in. We need to do a live about that. All the pieces. Right. No, it's on the car. Like when they took it in, the ISP evidence photos, the bug guard is on the car. Like when he's arrested, it's on the car. But the photos that Dateline apparently got leak wise doesn't have one. That's why I'm trying to figure out when it got put on there. Oh, I showed the people the map earlier. So they should know by now, I guess. Thank you, though. Is that part of the ones that Plunder released, or like nighttime WSU cams? I haven't had the chance to look at that yet. Maybe we'll look at that later tonight. It wasn't there. Yeah. That's why I want to figure out like where it came from. When did he put it? Yeah, they're saying he doesn't, but that's why we got to go through it ourselves too. It's a black piece that goes around the front of your vehicle so that you don't get bugs on your car. It really doesn't do much of anything because you still have to clean it off. They're kind of pointless, honestly, if you want to be so serious. Huh, maybe. Maybe. Yes, Joy, we can see you. Okay, well, please don't come in here stating stuff like that. That's not factual because that's how misinformation gets spread. Someone in the comments elsewhere said the girl who lives in the house with the camera is related to Kopaka. That is such a vague, non-factual statement. Please stop doing that kind of stuff. I just explained it. It's a piece of black plastic that goes in front of your car. That's supposed to stop bugs from getting on your car, but it's a relevant, useless piece of plastic. It doesn't do anything. You still have to clean it. I'll pull it up for you here in a second. I'll pull up the ISP document and show you what I'm talking about. Because there's a picture of his car. Oh, guys, we got new ISP documents. I mean, that's possible. That's how I feel about Delphi. They had to have somebody, and the real person was gone. I feel like the old man that owned that property with Delphi had a lot to do with that situation. You would think, right? It's just a disorganized, disgusting pile of slop. Whole case. That's just a vehicle. What is that? Is that silvery gray weird looking colored truck? Because it has like that weird little light like in the top and the back. It was not. Like 2 days later, yeah. It just means he saw him on TV. It doesn't mean he knew him. Muscle right here keeps twitching. That's why I keep messing with it. But I always have eye twitches since like my whole life. My 7-year-old just asked me why we keep talking about burgers. I'm just going to leave that there. I take magnesium and B12. Where's my magnesium tablet? In the kitchen. 2 bottles in the kitchen. And I take Goli with ashwagandha and L-theanine and magnesium stuff in it. Don't do it, just. I think it's just because I've been on a computer my whole life. I'll need to eat. I'll start eating bananas. Because yeah, I'd rather taste it than just take the pill, you know. I don't taste them. That was a slider. You heard that? That was a slider. Those little short noises. Mine does. I have two. I have one program that is nonstop, and then I have a separate one that's motion. See, that sounded like I'm back one more time. He just let the dog back in the room. I'm back one more time. It's that slider. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I still hear talking. Like it's faint, but it's there. Yes, a sliding door. That has to be voices, right? I don't know what else that would be. Thank you for the 3, Bill. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It could be a TV, but it like the volume of things changes, so I don't think that it would be like someone leaving it on. Yeah, it just sounds like a lot. Was Murphy on the bed? Okay, yeah, you're right. I did hear that at first. And we've only seen that because we have the photos of him underneath the desk. That's true. And the crate was like behind her door or some shit like that. Thank you for the 249, Wiccan. It does. A whisper? I thought that the paperwork says that the crate was behind her bedroom door. I could have sworn that was the case. We know that the Goncalves has said that she loaded up the crate into the back of her Range Rover, but I could have sworn that it was in the files, but it was behind the thingy. Yeah, that's what the mom said. The mom never even stepped foot into this house. I could have sworn that it's in the paperwork, in the photographs, in the paperwork. I guess she could have had to. The crate was behind her bedroom door as far as the paperwork goes. Probably so Jack could see him. Lots of talking and moving. Welcome, you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, Sour. That's still we're still confirming. Still confirming. So echoey. Did that pass up the road? Yeah. Only if MPD did it. They might have. From photos, probably. It was still on. I think I do remember that. I have to go back and look. It gets colorful again in the daytime. That's why the last 30 minutes I showed you guys last night's all color. It does have like a back end sound on it. That's a good question too. Who turned off the music? If there was, I mean, we heard it. We could hear a beat for sure. It said no connection. I have to go back and look. I still hear talking. Eight minutes left. I can't answer that question until we get the rest of the footage. We still have over 2 hours missing. And it's all the very important portions where people are supposed to freaking get home. Who's you? 6 a.m. on a Sunday? That's probably somebody going to work. Something just got dropped. Yes, Stone, but you're going to have to go back and watch the first one where they leave. They leave after like 3:30. And then they get dropped off by somebody. They don't drive the car back. I don't know what time the car comes back. I haven't watched all these. I'm watching them live with you guys. There's like a lot of talking, a lot of movement. Like now I'm expecting noises. Around 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm expecting noises to start picking up because that's about a normal time, even on a Sunday, for people to get up and start going to work and get ready for church and stuff like that. So up until this point, like all the silence with all the background noise, that's pretty important stuff. But then again, this is a college area, so there probably won't be too many that get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. It was just Kaylee they're claiming that was dancing, and I don't know. I guess there was still technically enough room. See, that's like vehicles passing. Yeah. Welcome, Blue-Eyed. Welcome, welcome. Me neither. Yeah, but you won't hear it till tonight when we play the 6 to 7 because it cuts off at 59 for some reason. I'm showing y'all these as they, like, in the segments they were given to me. This is how MPD cut them, or the forensic dude, Andrew Fox, cut them. It's real quiet now. Should I see a reflection of something over here or not? Maybe not. Maybe not. I haven't seen proof of that. It'll release by itself. Don't stay up for no reason. Get your sleep. It's almost done. This is Molly. Bet my paycheck. Uno minuto. Yeah, it's pretty quiet. Mm-mm. I hear it. That's all. That's it. Until tonight. And tonight we're going to go over 6 to 7. I'll drop that link in the chat real fast. And then tomorrow, this one, the 445 to the 6, is going to drop in the morning. Raw file with the Google Drive in the description box. And then tomorrow at 11:45, I'm going to go live again. And we're going to go over, and I had to rewrite my shit, by the way, so I'll put it in the community tab. I realized, like, going back and looking at the one that I put in the community tab, but I missed 7 and 8. 7 to 8 o'clock. So I had to go back in and rewrite it. So I'll put it up today with like the full thing. But on tomorrow, on Monday, yeah, the 445 to the 6 o'clock that we just went over is going to release fully with the Google Drive link to the original file that was sent to me by the police. And then at 11:45, we're going to go live to go over the 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock hour. Then that night, the 6A to 7A that we're going to review live tonight is going to post, because tomorrow after 3 o'clock, I'm not going live again until Wednesday at 3. So the plan is to go live tomorrow before the 7 to the 8, and then post that one for full, like in full, on the morning of my son's birthday on Tuesday. And then I'll have 2 other videos just randomly post throughout the day, or maybe just one, honestly. Probably just one post later on that night. It's either going to be my reaction to something that you guys have been asking me to look at for a super, super long time, or it's just going to be a clip of something from these videos that just gets people's attention on the raw footage, probably. And then on the morning of Wednesday the 10th, in order to keep the pattern of the raw footage coming out, I'm going to release the 8 to 9 o'clock in the morning before we review it live. And then at 3:45 p.m., I will go live to review the 8 to 9. So that's going to be the one piece that you guys get before we review it live, just so that I can keep the pattern of y'all getting the information out And then Wednesday night, we'll go live to do the 9 to the 10 o'clock in the morning. Now, remember, the 10 a.m. to the 11 a.m. is missing, and we have the 11 to the 12:05 p.m., half of which we've pretty much already watched. I'm hoping that by Thursday that they have us the 12:55 to the 2:25 and the 10 to the 11, because then we can just continue on as normal until we're finished. But that's the plan. That's the plan so far. So watch for this one's full file to release tomorrow morning. And tonight is 6 to 7, and it's right here. So you guys can grab that link. Yeah, I'm going to post the whole thing. I was just reading off of it. But I'm going to repost the whole thing because I forgot to do the 7 to 8 a.m. in the first one that I posted. So lots of stuff. And tomorrow, before I am ixnayed off of the internet from 3 to 3 for that 48-hour period, I'm also going to get a hold of Moscow and ask them specifically about what Gray Hughes is now claiming that he paid for and the timeline. Because if it really is just a duplication fee and he paid the duplication fee, then I should be able to FOIA who paid for those full redactions. Because if you grab the footage of the police showing up and all the crazy chaos and everything else, and you paid those full redactions to where now someone's paying a duplication fee and they're not out to the public, I want to know. I want to know. So we're going to try to figure it out. I know. Oh my God. I hate it. I hate it so much. Yes, I'm aware. I hate it so much. I hate it. Oh my God. Welcome, Elle. Welcome. All right, you guys. I have other things I need to edit and get done. And I will see you guys later on tonight. Do not forget, the links to all these things are in the full footages. So you can go and grab this stuff yourself and review it yourself. So y'all go do that. Y'all have a great Sunday. I will be back in a little bit. Thank you so much for all of you guys' support, everyone who joined, everyone who sent a super sticker or a super chat. I very much appreciate every single one of you. But I'm going to go ahead and roll this out. And again, I need to get this off the screen. I will see you guys tonight for the rest of this stuff. Let me go ahead and roll this out. Please do not forget to leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. All right, you guys. See y'all.